Okay, so welcome. Here is our first video lesson on our triangle proofs. We're going to prove triangles congruent using the toolbox we've established for the last few days. Notice I've got those written in red across the top of my screen. HL was hypotenuse, leg, side, angle, side, angle, side, angle, side, 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 and angle, angle, side. So those are the 5 shortcuts. That's what we called them in class to proving triangles congruent. So we're going to figure out a plan and put this all together. All right, I'm going to go to my next slide. And here is our first proof. This is a level 1 proof. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to prove the triangle WVX is congruent. My congruent symbol moved to triangle XYW. So the first thing that we need to do is mark up our diagram. And it looks like our diagram is already marked up. I've got WV congruent to XY. I've got angle V and Y, both right angles. So let's see here. If I'm talking about a plan, I've got a set of sides congruent. I've got a set of angles congruent. So that means I'm not going to use side, side, side. I don't have 2 angles. I can't use angle, side, angle. I might be able to use hypotenuse, leg. Do I have a hypotenuse congruent? I do. Do you see that WX is the hypotenuse in triangle Y, WYX, and WX is the hypotenuse in triangle WVX. So I think for this proof, I'm going to use hypotenuse leg. So that's my game plan. I've got 2 legs congruent, I've got a hypotenuse congruent, and I've got 2 right angles. So that is leading me to HL. Okay, so how do we get started? How do we start our proof? Well, we always start our proof with what we are given, which is what we know. So we're going to actually write down, we're given the diagram. So my first statement is the diagram. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not writing well for me. And that's given. So the next thing is I need to be specific about what's marked up in my proof. So I'm going to write down that WV is congruent to XY, and that's given in the diagram. And that is my leg. So I've shown my legs are congruent. Now I need to show that my angles are congruent. So what I have is I've got angle V is congruent to angle Y. They're both right angles. So this is my right angle statement, and they're equal to each other because all right angles are congruent. So there's this. I've got the blue for my WV and my XY. And then what's the hypotenuse in my triangle? It's WX. So my hypotenuse is going to be WX is congruent to itself, and I have to say that, and that's the reflexive property. So if we check in here, I've got a hypotenuse, I've got a leg, and I've got the fact that it's a right triangle. So I can write my proof statement here. My proof statement is going to be WVX is congruent to XY YW, and my reason here, I used HL, hypotenuse leg. Not bad. All right, let's move on to my next proof. This is a level 2 proof. This proof is asking us to prove triangle PQR is congruent to MNR. And my diagram's marked up for me. Let's see, what can we do here? I think we can use hypotenuse leg. We could use that again. We could certainly use, we could use that. We can't use side, side, side. We can't use angle. Could we use angle, angle, side? We could. Let's do the proof that way. Let's do angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side. So we're going to go with angle, angle, side to do something different this time. So I need to show one set of angles, which are going to be the ones I marked in green. I'm going to show my other set of angles, which I'm going to mark in blue. Those are my right angles. And then the sides that I'm going to use are my QP and my MN. Okay? So we're going to write down our given. We're going to say that angle P and angle M are right angles. This is given. Then I'm going to get that. I'm going to write that. That's my my blue statement. I need that in my proof. I'm going to say that angle P is congruent to angle M. And the reason is all right angles are congruent. And then I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my other angle. I'm going to say that angle QRP is congruent to angle QRP is congruent to NRM, and those are vertical angles are congruent. Okay? So I've got an angle, I need my side. So my side is going to be, whoops, I want that to be red, sorry. Why is it not red? I want QP is congruent to MN. And that's given. So in my proof, I've got my angle, angle, side. So I can finish this proof with my proof statement. Triangle PQR is congruent to triangle MNR, and my reason is the angle, angle, side postulate. We could have done this one HL as well, but I wanted to show you guys something different. All right, last but not least, let's go to our level 3 proof. This one's a little bit more difficult. Okay, I'm going to highlight the triangles that it wants me to prove. I have to prove this DEA, and I need to prove it's congruent to FEC. So I'm looking at that. And I do see that I've got some angles that are vertical. I have vertical angles in here. So I have an angle. And then what else do I have? I don't have any other angles congruent. Do I have sides? So let's look at what this says. AC and DF bisect each other at E. So what that means is AC bisects DF. So I'm going to change my color on this, and that means this, DE and EF are congruent. And then since DF bisects AC, that means AE is congruent to CE. So it looks like here that I've got sides, angle, side. So that's what I'm going to use. I can't use HL. I don't have enough angles. I don't have 3 sides, and I don't have angle, angle, side. So I'm going to use side, angle, side. All right, here we go. First statement in my proof is going to be my given, and I'd like that to be in black, AC and DF bisect each other at E. My reason is it's given. Okay, so I'm going to start out with my first side that's congruent, and I'm going to say DE is congruent to EF. And what is that reason? Well, that reason is a bisector divides a segment into two congruent segments. So that's my side. My angle, I have to show my angles are equal, so I'm going to name that angle DEA is congruent to angle FEC. And that reason, vertical angles are congruent. And last but not least, I need my last side. My last sides are going to be my green ones. That's going to be AE is congruent to EC. And that's the same reason as my red sides. A bisector divides a segment into two congruent segments. So I have a side, angle, side in my proof. I can finish this up. My last statement in my proof is always the prove statement. So triangle DEA is congruent to triangle FEC. And the reason is side, angle, side. Not too bad. All right. Thanks for watching, and good luck with your proofs.